All right, everyone. Huge movie fanatic Nate stopping on by for a first kind of a recording here with Matthew Heagerty. He agreed to, since we both saw Top Gun Maverick, he actually agreed to stop on by for a discussion about Top Gun Maverick, as Matthew Heagerty is opposed to movie reviews. Not going to do a movie review. We're going to do a movie discussion about Top Gun Maverick. Welcome, Matt.
Welcome. So, I'm not keen on, as you know, for movie reviews are the typical format. I just like talking about movies. So, and just discussing them like you would normally with your buddies after you see it. So, yeah.
So we're not going to do a movie review. We're going to do a movie discussion. What I thought would be interesting is to very quickly give our thoughts on the first Top Gun film. Have you? I imagine you've seen that. How long has it been since you've seen the first film?
I saw it. I saw it again like last year, and yeah, I like the first film. It's a cheesy movie. But I like I kind of like, it was like a cheesy movie that I kind of liked the cheesy parts of it. If that makes sense. Like I did like the cheesy romantic aspects of it. It just worked for that movie. I don't know. Like I did like that movie, and obviously I thought, the jets were cool and this and that. But yeah, to me it was like a really good cheesy 80s action movie. The first one, that is.
All right, very cool. Yeah, I just recently rewatched it as well, and I've got the 3D converted Blu-ray, which was really interesting. It's amazing what they can do with a 2D movie and convert it to 3D. You'd think it was shot with 3D cameras. It's really a treat. And honestly, I've never been a big fan of this film. I saw it in the drive-in theater with my dad back in whenever the hell it came out, '86, and I can still remember like that lovemaking scene on the big drive-in screen, and thinking like, "Oh wow, this is too sexy for me" at the time, which is funny. I do think that scene is a little, if you compare it to the second film and the quote unquote like lovemaking scene, which there really isn't one. I do feel like that lovemaking scene in the first film is a little. I don't know. It's like it's a little. I don't know. It's a little much. It's funny how much they tried to go as far as they could and still be PG. It just shows how times change. Like you got the whole thing with, I don't know, just a close-up shot of their faces. She's on the bottom, he's on top, and I don't know. It's funny how back in the '80s movies seemed to stop, even if it was PG, just stop for basically a lovemaking scene. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, you don't ever really see that anymore. Not that I've noticed that you don't see that stuff anymore. And wasn't that original lovemaking scene kind of like made into a parody? Is how over the top it was.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the movies, but they did a couple movies like Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2 that were like parodies of Top Gun. I would imagine they did. I can't remember those films at all.
Yeah, so I guess going into Top Gun Maverick, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so going into it, overall. So I think I already kind of said that I'm not the biggest fan of Top Gun, the first film, even after having seen it in 3D and stuff. I honestly can't understand what the big hype over that film was, but to each their own. So moving into the second film, I do want to say, as we're starting here, that overall I thought it was a much superior film to the first film because it had actually kind of a goal. That's one of the things I didn't really like about the first film. Every time I watch it, is like it's kind of it's kind of like when I watched it for the first time years ago after not having seen it for a long time, I'm like, oh god, the movie's all about just basically flight school and that's it. And then at the end there's like an actual kind of a battle. One thing I liked about this film is that it's kind of, they have this video game generic kind of quote unquote enemy target objective, if you will, and the students are training for an actual purpose versus just whatever, just competing against each other. So off the bat, that was my initial thought. What about yours?
Yeah, I liked it more than the original. I could have, a brief summary, I could have done without any of the romantic stuff in this movie. Like, I understand why they did it, because they were trying to just make it more Top Gun-ish, with the romantic stuff. And I could have done. I mean, honestly, I could have done without it. I think if they had just focused more on more training and just even more drama between the students and even Maverick himself, I would have been, or just added more to the end of the movie. Like, I mean, I could have done without the romantic stuff, but it's like they were trying to make it a Top Gun movie. But like, I guess on one hand, I kind of just wish they made a movie with Tom Cruise without the Top Gun stuff they have to throw in. Like, I would have been happier with that. Like, just a movie about what they were doing without having to feel the need to make it feel like a Top Gun movie. I don't know, because you probably noticed they did that. Like, they added in the football scene that was like they just had to do all that stuff, which was okay, but I would have been fine with that stuff. But I did not care about the romantic stuff. It's like, I mean, they're just too old. It's just I don't know. Like, the guy's like, what, in his 50s? It's like, dude, it's not. We don't need to see like grandpa making out. I mean, they're good looking for their age, but it's just it's like, does anyone want to see this? Did anyone ask for this? What do you think about that? Like the romantic stuff. That was my biggest complaint. Like, I could have just done with that any of that.
That's a very good point, and honestly, I wonder how long Tom Cruise plans on being the leading man. I mean, I don't exactly know how old he is. I want to say he's closer to 60. I'm not 100% sure. But I agree. Yeah. Like, at this point, maybe the whole... I mean, I guess I would imagine it's his decision as the movie star. I would imagine he's the one who still wants to be the leading man and, get the girl. And, one thing I can say for him is at least the women are kind of getting older with him. It's not like he has a relationship with a 20-something or something. Jennifer Connelly's pushing 50 herself. So, but I agree. Like, let's have it.
Sorry, what?
No, go ahead.
Now, it would have made a lot more sense now I'm thinking about it would have been way better if they were going to do something romantic or whatever high, because it was a high stake mission, and I did like how they were like they might have died, and I like push on that a little bit more. Like, that was a very high stake mission. Like, Tom Cruise, like, yeah, he's single, he's got no kids, and I like how he was like, it's easy for you to say you've got no one to mourn you when you die. Oh, is this a spoiler review?
Yeah, I'll put that in the title that it'll be spoiler laden. Okay. So we can say anything.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's hard to not talk about this movie without spoilers. But so it would have been better if, like, especially since they were going the whole, like, I guess that Miles actor, he was the son of, what was it? The guy that died, Rooster? I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I think Rooster was the son of Goose, who died in the first film.
Yeah, so why not? I mean, why not make it so Rooster's son? I mean, they didn't show him with a girl or anything. Like, why not make him have a family and show his family and Tom Cruise interacting with them, and that would have made it so much harder. Like it would. I don't know. It would just added a lot more. Especially to that end scene of, like, him having to choose, like, him being conflicted to choose him for the mission, and it would have made more sense while he was rejecting him. But they didn't go that route. They just went the route of, well, Tom Cruise has got to have the girl, and yeah, it was just so. It would have been fine if they did it with Rooster's son. Did he have a family? I don't think he did. Right?
I think you're talking about Goose's son, Rooster.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry. Is that what they called him, Rooster, in this movie? I kind of blanked. Like, that parts of this movie, I kind of just was like, okay, So sorry if I messed up.
No. There's way too many characters and way too many call signs, so it's understandable. The guy from the first film who died was Goose, and then his son in this film is Rooster.
Okay, did Rooster? He didn't have kids, right?
I don't believe
they didn't show him.
I don't believe he had kids or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or anything.
Why not? Yeah, give him a boyfriend. But why not make him have kids? Like, he did say a good line to like, oh, you got no one to mourn you. Like, that would have been a lot more. I don't know. Would have just made a lot more sense if he had kids and a family, and Tom Cruise was like really torn. Like, oh my God, I don't want him to. I don't know. It would have been a lot more impact. And the mission itself, you would have been like, oh God, I hope he doesn't die. Like, because you don't want him to, because he's got kids and stuff. But none of them had that you knew. I mean, they might have had kids, but they didn't show it. They didn't. So it was like I don't know. It's like they could have just taken out the Tom Cruise love bullshit and put in these younger people that were actually, you know what I mean, would have had a lot more to lose. And that's like my biggest complaint with the movie. Just that romantic shit with Tom Cruise that just I don't think needed to be there. Could have been replaced with what I just said. So, yeah, and then like I get it, the Val Kilmer stuff. I mean, that was okay. I mean, I guess I just like I don't really care about this cheesy stuff from the original Top Gun, but it's like I get why they did it because it's still a quote unquote a Top Gun movie, but I could have just done without like that kind of stuff. Like all those, they really had a lot of callbacks to the original. Like I would have been on the side of like, just make it like more of a new movie. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, so that seems to be a trend lately with the newer Ghostbusters film is trying to walk a fine line between fan service and continuing a story, and that's something that I wanted to not forget to mention myself, which is the beginning of this film was a little much in regards to being like the opening credits of the film are the exact not shot for shot, but for the most part a remake of the opening credits from the first film, where it's just the old, you know, the guys on the aircraft carriers and these jets taking off and all their little, you know, poses and hand signals and all this kind of stuff, along with the same classic song that was in the opening credits of the first film, like a little, I don't know, it was kind of like, oh my God, is this just going to be a remake of the first film?
Yeah, I was fine. I was fine with the opening callback scene, to be honest. They kind of got me pumped up. Like I was cool with that. Well, obviously I was cool with it. Like, didn't they play Danger Zone in it? I was fine with that. It's just, I was cool. I liked it. I kind of figured they weren't going to keep making the whole movie. Like, I got the vibe from the trailer. It was going to be a lot different than the original. So I wasn't personally worried. I figured it was just a callback to the original intro. But yeah, So that was cool. But you were worried. You were worried about seeing that intro.
Well, I wasn't worried that the whole movie was going to be a remake, but I guess I kind of thought. So it's kind of interesting how, you know, I think your response to the opening scene of the second film was kind of the response they were hoping for, where it was kind of like, okay, let's you know, jazz up or whatever you want to call it, excite the old Top Gun fans with this remake of the opening credits from the first film, whereas I'm like, okay, well, the first film did this already, so that's absolutely fine. We're two opposing sides of the situation. I can definitely see your point, and I just thought it was kind of laughable, but that's okay.
I liked it. I mean, it would have been cool if they. Yeah, I guess maybe. I mean, they could have done something a little different and still played Danger Zone, and it would have felt cool. I don't know. I get what you're saying. It would have been cool if they did something a little different, but I was still. It got me pumped up. But yeah, it would have also got me pumped up if they just opened up with like a dogfight or something. Like that would have been cool, you know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because they said, "Oh, Maverick, he was fighting in all these battles." I don't know. Yeah, they could have done a lot more, but didn't bother me personally. I was more happy with the intro than I was with all this old grandpa relationship stuff going on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and it is kind of interesting how, you know, Jennifer Connelly's pushing 50 herself, and her daughter's only like what, 12. That seems funny.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, she was a very good-looking woman back in the day, but it's like, you know, it's just. I think both of them are just a little bit too old to be. I don't know. It wasn't for me. I don't want to harp on it too much, but so then I guess moving forward, what did you think about? I kind of was like hit or miss with like some of the acting while they were flying was a little bad. Like I don't you know what I mean? Like at least in the middle of the movie, some of their. I don't. Did you notice? Did you get that? Did you notice that? Like some of the acting, some of those actors, like while they were flying the jets, just like their reactions. I just wasn't buying it. I don't know, just some of them were better than others, but I don't know.
Well, nothing really stuck out to me, but like one of the reasons could be if they actually, if their claim of this, them flying around and doing this and that for real is true. I mean, you can understand your acting being hampered by being in a.
That's true. Yeah, actually, yeah, maybe that's a good point. Maybe it was so hard to act. No, it was definitely real. Like you could definitely tell it was real. But yeah, maybe it was actually too hard to even act because things were so. They were feeling those G forces or whatever. But yeah, that was my favorite part of the movie. I guess getting to the meat and potatoes, the choreographed fights and flying was just. I mean, in the fact that it was like I guess the only CGI I noticed was the missiles, like that were being shot. But I mean, I just made me hate CGI so much, seeing how amazing them flying and just. Them, you could tell they were feeling the G forces. It was just, it felt so immersive. I never felt so immersed in a movie, like you were really there. Like I know they were saying that, and I was like, oh, are they just marketing? But I was like, God damn, it was like, wow, like that was crazy. Like just, I guess what you come to see Top Gun for, like crazy jets flying, like that stuff blew me away. How they filmed it and how immersed I felt and how it was crazy. And I think they did an awesome job showing how hard it is to like the hardest part, I guess one of the hardest parts, if not the hardest part of flying those jets and not dying is just sustaining those G forces, like trying to do crazy maneuvers while withstanding those G forces and not passing out. Like that's a huge part. Yeah. I mean, I've read stories like pilots dying because they got whatever G locked out, or they just passed out and they just crashed their plane when they were in a dogfight. Like that's So yeah, what do you think about that? Like the realness of it, and just seeing those planes and them in the cockpit. What were your thoughts? And then the sound was unbelievable too. Oh my God! Like hearing those jets firing up and yeah. What do you think, Nate? I don't want to ramble on too much.
Yeah, so that's another thing that I think, the kind of improvements over the original film that this one made was that, honestly, I don't remember anything even being said about G-forces in the original film or any of these real-world flying things that pilots have to deal with. So that was another aspect to this film, the sequel, that I thought was better about the original film because it's obviously a valid point and something that should have obviously been in the part of the first film, but for whatever reason it wasn't. So I agree, that was a cool element of the second film, the G forces. And my particular opinion with the supposed real doing everything for real in the film is it's possible that the cockpit shots and stuff looked real, and you could tell like when the planes were going like back and forth, how the lighting on their faces was the exact same. So I mean, it looks like the cockpit shots of the characters in the planes and stuff with the realistic backgrounds and everything. It looks like that stuff was in fact real or whatever. But it does look like there's a very good chance that some of the actual shots of like the planes doing this and that.
Oh, they didn't do the stunts. No, there was no reason for them to do the stunts.
Right,
yeah,
but I'm just
99% sure they didn't even fly the plane. They were just in the cockpit.
Well, right, but I still think some of just the long shots of certain planes and stuff might have been phony baloney. There's no way to prove it, but anyway, that was another strong point about the movie. Is obviously the first film's got the old rear projection with the actors in the cockpit kind of BS. So that was another strength of this movie, is actually having a freaking shot of these actors in this real. It looks like a real cockpit with the real background in the background was a huge plus to this film.
Oh yeah, and I just thought like the mission in this movie, they did an amazing job of making it seem like you're probably going to die. like they couldn't even like the fact that they were failing all the tests. It was just like I really liked how they made it like this is like Mission Impossible, what you guys are doing, and probably not all of you are coming out of this alive. And I thought that was really cool. Just seeing them keep failing, and it's like they have no time left to even learn. And it's like, that like the stakes were so high going into that mission. I thought they did. I thought, and then I thought that was good. I liked how they had like Maverick like trying to save them. Like, he was the one going, we have to do this in, 2.5 minutes, or you're probably not making this out alive because you can't get into a dogfight with these superior jets. And then, obviously, which would make sense, the military was like, well, we want you to finish the mission. Your life, expendable. You know what I mean? So I kind of liked how, when they fired Maverick and they're like, yeah, we're going to give you 4 minutes or something to do this now, which should be easy enough. And, you're going to get in a dogfight, probably, and get caught and, probably die. But, hey, at least you finished the mission. I thought that was really cool. What do you think about that? Like the mission being high stakes and...
Well, yeah, that was one of the things that probably one of the best things about this that I think makes it better than the first film, as I already said. Yeah, it's funny how the mission, though, it does remind me of the old video game, like NES days of just like just a generic boss bad guy kind of a situation that's impossible to achieve. And it's funny how you mentioned Mission Impossible, because it does seem like that. It's like Top Gun. Top Gun Impossible maybe would have been a better title, but.
Yeah, like oh, you're gonna have to fly between this like mountain, like going 600 miles an hour, like while turning and maintaining. It's just like, what? And you got to do it like perfectly, like really fast and not crash and whatever. And then you gotta and then to get to the target, which you gotta fly like basically it almost looked like a volcano or something. It was like you gotta fly into this mountain that's like surrounded. I was wondering what was the name of those. Like what they were flying into, like it almost looked like a volcano, but it was just mountains that were like circling around each other.
Yeah,
I was thinking, what was the name of that? What they were flying into?
I can't remember.
Shoot the target.
I can't remember that, but it did resemble a volcano. Just this target on the bottom of this structure with
a volcano. Yeah, yeah. They got to go up and go in and then get out, and it was just like, and then he's like, yeah, you're going to be pulling 9 Gs, and you're going to have to pull out exactly so you don't get locked on, so you don't get shown on the radar and get blasted out of the sky by the missiles. And it's just like, what? Like it was. I thought that was really cool. But just the fight scenes were unbelievable. Just seeing what those planes were doing and all the stunts that they were pulling off, like that was just, I don't know. That really blew my mind. Like that was like, man, like. Just seeing realistic, F-18 plane, just made all the stuff you see in like these comic book movies with CGI just seems so lame in comparison to just real life jets battling it out,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So then I guess, so what did you think of the final mission? Like when I was watching, I was definitely on the edge of my seat. Like when they were flying into that. Into the mountains and like I guess the rooster was getting really scared because you just like you're starting to see all these missiles right above him. Like I was like, damn, you know what I mean? Like that that would suck. Like, oh man, and he's starting to slow down because he's getting scared, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they, as you said already, they definitely kind of they definitely made it as like harrowing and nerve-wracking and as they possibly could for the characters and the audience. And honestly, they were before they started the mission on the aircraft carrier, Tom Cruise was, I don't know, I had this suspicion, and I guess I kind of fell for it, but they were making it look like Tom Cruise was gonna die. And I was kind of thinking, that would have been really, I actually kind of thought in a way that would have been better. They kind of did a couple things in this whole last scene, which, God, that seems like the last kind of final scene really lasted for almost 30 minutes or something, maybe from beginning to end. It was pretty long, and not a bad way. I mean, it kept your interest, but it did seem to me like they did a couple moments where it was like hopeless, where initially you think that Tom Cruise gets shot down, then we find out that he's okay, and then Rooster, Goose's son goes in there and rescues him. And I did think it was kind of really cool how they actually flew out of there. I think in a kind of a plane that they were flying in the first film. Am I understanding that correct? That the old
I think they flew a different plane in the first film, but because I looked up the planes they were flying in the first film. And I don't think it was an F-14. I could be wrong, but I remember it not being. But it was just an older plane.
Kind of from the era of the first film.
Yeah, Correct. Yeah, they flew them. Yeah, they definitely flew that plane in the 80s, 90s. Yep.
I did.
Yeah, I did do my research on that one. That was from the era.
I thought it was really cool how I can understand people thinking this is kind of stupid, but I just went with it. I mean, I thought it was cool how whatchamacallit, Goose's son ended up in the back seat behind Tom Cruise. I mean, where Goose used to sit, so his son ends up back of him where Goose used to sit. I thought that was actually really pretty cool and unexpected.
Did you notice something? Sorry to cut you off. Did you notice something? Now I'm thinking about it. Like they did it a couple times. I think they did it right after when Goose's son Rooster was. Remember they showed his face when they were like, "No, come back to the base." Like, and he's like, "We got to get Tom Cruise back. We got to get Maverick." And he's like, "No, just come back to the base." And then they showed his face like contemplating what to do. But then wasn't it right after they just did like a blackout scene for like 3 seconds? Like there wasn't a cut. It was just black. Or is that just my theater? I mean, was that actually in the movie for you? Like,
oh, yeah. I think I remember some just cut to nothing for I don't know what.
For like a couple seconds. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this?
I can't remember when it was, but yeah.
I think it happened twice. Like I think they did it twice.
Well, maybe
I have to rewatch that movie. Yeah,
maybe
they definitely did it after Rooster was contemplating. I was like, you just cut to nothing. Like. I thought I get it. They were going for like, oh, Tom Cruise is getting shot at, and out of nowhere, oh look, surprise, Rooster's here. But I thought it would have been cool to watch Rooster just being like, nah, fuck this, and like you actually see him just dip out. You know what I mean? To go back to save Tom. Like I thought that would have been cool. Like seeing him like disobey the order and be like, fuck you, we're going back for Maverick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, that's one of two ways to do it. They went with the surprise factor, but I definitely hear you.
Yeah, but like everyone knew he was probably going back. Like the way he was looking, like it was kind of didn't. I don't think anyone was surprised. You know what I mean? That he came back because they really showed it in his face. But I actually did laugh at that one line. Like I actually did chuckle. Like I don't really laugh at a lot of these one-liners in these movies nowadays, but I thought that was pretty funny when he. When Maverick finally like met up with Rooster and he just runs up and shoves him onto the ground. It's like, what the fuck were you thinking? What were you doing? He's like, what were you thinking? And he's like, you told me not to think.
Yeah.
So I just laughed. Like, that's good. Yeah. And then he just looked at him like, yeah, you're right.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. That reminds me. I said absolutely. You're right. That was funny. That reminds me of something I don't want to forget to mention. Now that you mentioned it, there's at the beginning of the movie he test flights this super duper jet and goes to Mach 10 or Mach 10 point whatever 3 or something and he ends up it blew up and he ends up he's dressed in a space suit and he ends up bailing out and ends up walking into some diner. And this joke was also in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Eraser, where he walks into the diner and he says, where am I? And this little kid says, Earth. The exact same joke was in Eraser from 1996.
I haven't seen that movie in so long. I mean, this joke seemed to make sense here because he was wearing all that spacesuit stuff almost looking. What did you think of that joke? Do you think it was cheesy, or you thought it?
Well, I knew the kid was going to say Earth, but then later on I realized, oh shit, that was from Eraser as well. But the line from Eraser, Arnold Schwarzenegger comes out of the sky in a parachute, so it makes more sense in this movie because he's in a spacesuit. But the kid says Earth, welcome in Eraser. But I hear you.
Yeah, what did you think of that opening scene? I mean, with. Not opening, but the second scene with the, like you said, with the Mach 10.
Yeah, it was like
that was pretty cool.
The first kind of action scene. Yeah, it reminded me of the scene from Interstellar as well, but that's another story. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Kind of an early action scene kind of a thing, and to get you all amped up and ready for the rest of the film. Him testing that super duper plane or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I don't think you really like. Did you like the plane stunts they were doing, and like what'd you think? Or what'd you think about the dogfight at the end when they were dogfighting those jets? I thought that was badass.
Oh yeah, that was some cool stuff. Yeah, as we were talking about the whole time, we it's hard to remember all of the stakes, but obviously the main objective in this movie has all these high stakes and all these this and that and difficulties to
Yeah, overcome.
surpass and overcome. And yeah, one of them is, their hope, I think, was to get in and out of there and
Yeah,
before and avoid any dogfights with these superior enemy, quote unquote, enemy aircraft.
and they're in an even yeah. Because I guess anyone didn't watch the movie or well, spoilers, but they. I guess let's take it back. So then they go to steal that jet. That was a little cheesy and rushed, but it was okay. Like that's what I was gonna say earlier. Like if they just cut out all the romantic bullshit, they could have spent an extra 5 minutes on that scene. Like that would have been a better use of their time. I think it would have been cooler to see them like 5 more minutes of that scene, like of them behind enemy lines trying to get this jet, than seeing him make out with like what I mean. I don't know. That's just me though.
Yeah,
Because that scene was so done so fast, and it was like, oh man, it would have been nice if they kind of had to do a little bit more to get this jet, because it felt rushed, and it kind of had to be because they spent too much time with Tom Cruise and his lover,
middle-aged love.
Yeah, because that would have been a cool scene, like behind enemy lines type scene of them trying to. Like more of them, like more if they had more obstacles to get this jet, and they extended it out a little bit longer. But that's just me. But yeah, they got the jet, and it was an older jet than the F-18. So but they didn't mention. I looked into it. Apparently, the F-14 still had things about it that were superior to the jet that they were just flying. Like I think I'm not an expert by any means on these jets, but. There were things that the F-18 just didn't do as well. Like, for one, I'm pretty sure when I looked it up, the F-14 is actually a faster jet, like straight line speed. I think it said it went up to like 1,500 miles an hour. And the jets that they were flying is like, they topped out at like, I think 1,100, maybe 1,200. So the F-14, that old jet, was apparently faster in a straight line. I don't know how much that's going to help overall, but it would have been cool if they kind of talked about that kind of stuff a little more. Like, oh, look, this jet actually is better in some ways, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a valid point, and like a while back you asked what I thought about the dog fights, and yeah, at the end, obviously after they achieve their video game generic mission of destroying the enemy, whatever the hell they destroyed, then it's obviously you knew it was going to happen. The dog fighting with the superior aircraft, and it was pretty much like edge of your seat kind of interesting.
Yeah,
stuff.
Because they I did like that they were like, actually now they're even worse off because they're in an F-14. Like I thought that was really cool. It's just like, oh shit, these guys, they made it out to be these guys are superior than their jets they were in, and now they're in an even older jet. And God knows how well it was maintained and all that other stuff. Like you don't even know how that jet's running or so I thought that was cool how when you saw those jets. I did like how the scene, like he's waving they're doing like the sign language, like the hand language to him.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, oh, this is it's like this is gonna go down. And then that jet goes behind him, I guess, just ready to shoot him. And that was pretty cool. And I did like some of these one-liners. I thought they were pretty good. Remember, wasn't Rooster or something? Wasn't he like? Because wasn't Tom Cruise like, oh, I don't know about this fight? And then didn't Rooster like remind him? It's not about something about it's not about the it's more about the pilot or something. What was that line? That was a cool line. Like
it's not. He
reassured Maverick when he was down, like it's about the pilot.
It's not the aircraft, it's the pilot.
Yeah, and then wasn't it right after he's like, fuck it, and just dips out and shoots the one? I was like, that was badass. It wasn't like right after he said that, he's like, all right, let's do this. And he just fucking dips out and just blasts that one right out of the air instantly. Like, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was unexpected and like, oh my gosh. And then he's got to deal with the other one, don't he?
Yeah. Yeah, and they did a good job of making it like, yeah, no, this aircraft is faster. I don't know about faster, but just more superior. It was like it did that. Remember, it did that crazy like braking maneuver or something
Yep.
When weren't they locked onto it, and didn't they shoot it a couple times, and it kept using flares, and it like they had a lot of they were because what was it at the end, they were using their guns like to try to take it out, like it was wasn't it? Now I'm trying to remember. It's been they used up all their rockets on it. It didn't work, and then they took it out with the just their bullets, and then they ran out of bullets. And then remember the second aircraft showed up? Like, weren't they out of ammo at that point?
Wasn't that the second one? That was the third one, wasn't it?
Oh, I guess the third one. Yeah, I guess the second one that they actually fought that. Well, I guess they fought the first one, but they just took it out. They killed it right off the bat. Oh, I guess second dogfight, like real. That was a good scene too. And then out of nowhere, he saved their ass, that was good. Yeah, that was pretty good. You know, it'd been really cool if they had some balls and they just let if Tom Cruise and Rooster both got shot and died, like at the end, like if they got shot and died, and then what was his name showed up like this is what I would have done. I would be like, you know what, guys, we're doing it. We're going for it. We're going for it. We're just he's gonna die. Because everyone's going to expect him to get saved. And nope, they're going to get shot out of the sky. And then Hangman shows up like he does. But Hangman shows up too late. And then you get an epic dogfight with Hangman, like really pissed off and trying to kill this guy. And then he ends up killing him. Like, that would have been cool. What do you think? Let's rewrite it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought that's where they were going, and I would have been impressed if they would have.
Oh, that would have been awesome. Just have an epic dogfight with Hangman pissed off. Trying to take these guys out. But no, they had to go the Hollywood safe route,
Happy ending.
No, dude, that would have been so much better if they did that. Because then we would have had like another dogfight, and it would have been like a dogfight where there's a lot of emotion now. Like, you just killed Maverick and and Rooster, like my boy, like what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that would have been cool.
Yeah, I hear you. That would have been some really high testosterone rage.
yeah, exactly. No, you can't have that, right? Can't have that. That would have been like a high testosterone revenge rage fight. Yeah, that would have been good. Yeah, because then you could have had that dog fight where, I guess now, this is how this. Yeah, this is why we didn't do a review, because I knew this was going to happen. I'd be like, well, they could have done this and that, and I guess some people do that in their reviews, but I don't know. So then how did it? I'm trying to remember how it ended. I saw it a couple days ago. After that scene, it was just like happy, and then
happy.
Should have been them dead.
I think he. That's what Matt thinks, and me to a certain extent. I thought Tom was going to die, and it's kind of a bummer.
He's old. Like, he's not coming. Come on, like, he's too old to come back. Like,
he
just kill him off.
Yeah, Top Gun 3, but he fixed it. He fixed up his little prop plane and flew away into the sunset with his nearly 50.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Because I couldn't remember the end because I was a little disappointed, like in the sense that it was just like back to the bullshit romance that I don't care about. Like, again, would have been better if it was like Rooster came home to his kids and then maybe his wife goes up and hugs him, because it was heroic as hell. Maverick. Oh, that's right. Remember Maverick saved his life? That scene was really badass. He just dips his plane up and shoots his flares out. Like, that was amazing, that scene,
Yeah, when we keep replaying this, I can't help but think that it would have been a superior film if, Maverick would have sacrificed his life to save Rooster.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have ended it there, too. You could have ended it where Maverick actually died saving him, and then they got caught in a major dogfight, with those planes, you know what I'm saying? Like, the rest of them. Like, so they would have been really pissed and emotional, and, yeah, I mean, it could have, either way, like, if Maverick would have died, but even that, all that being said, if Maverick lived, like, the ending, having him, Rooster's wife and kids, like, hugging him, saying, thank you, you saved my, my husband, my father, you know what I mean? Like, that would have been a great ending, but They didn't go that route. It was all about Tom Cruise and his single mother lover or something. It's just like, I don't. I mean, I get he's old, so he's gonna be with a girl that has kids, but it was just, I don't know. It was just so like, again, like. I bet you most people, I would let that'd be a good survey. How many people like were like they could have just done without that Tom Cruise love side plot? Like I bet you, maybe I'm wrong, but I would imagine most people would like if you would have said, oh, in the script we're gonna change it so Rooster has a family and a love interest and a wife, or whatever, and kids. I mean, how many people would have been like, yeah, go with the Rooster one? I mean, I feel like that would be the majority. I don't know why. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Honestly, I thought it would have been cool, and I don't know if she's retired. I haven't really seen her, and I don't think she's been in a movie for a while, but it would have been cool if they could have had at least like a little cameo from Meg Ryan, you know. She was what's his name's mom, you know, Rooster's mom.
That's true, yeah. Oh, that's right, they didn't have a cameo. Yeah. I mean, in a weird. It's also Rooster saved Tom Cruise's life too, so it's like I don't know, like they both saved each other's lives, you know. Yeah, so that was interesting, but
And
any other thoughts?
Well, there's something that I'm not 100% on, and there's a very good chance I'm wrong, but I want to just prod your brain on what you think of this. Does the female love interest, it seems almost like she lives in the same house the love interest woman lived in the first film. Did you catch that, or am I just tripping?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't catch it or notice. The love interest stuff, I was kind of just...
Oh, you were zoning.
I was zoning. Yeah, I was just like, all right, okay, we're doing this. Okay.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not 100%, but I just had that vibe. Like, God, I hope she's not at the same house as love interest was in the first film. One thing I know that
it looked like the same street. Like, yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, like when he rode up on his motorcycle, it did look like it was definitely on the same street. So it wasn't the same house. That all these houses look the same. They're all cookie cutter houses, but it wasn't the same house. It was definitely like the same street. Yeah, I think you're right because I think. Yeah, I'll have to look into that because that street looked very similar. Like when he pulled up on his motorcycle.
There's another
shot for shot.
There's another similarity where his girlfriend, his love interest in the first film had like a Porsche from the 60s or something like that.
Oh yeah, and she shows up with a Porsche from the 60s.
Well, I think I
think it was a 60s. Maybe it was 70s or it might have been an 80s.
I think it was from the 80s. So his love interest in this has an old Porsche, just like the first love interest has an old Porsche.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful cars though.
There was some shot that was like a Porsche commercial where the Porsche was like filling up the whole screen and the two the two middle-aged lovers were leaning against the hood kissing. It was like I almost expected the word Porsche to go across the or Porsche.com.
Porsche.com or Porsche. I think one of their slogans is there is no substitute or something. I might be butchering it, but there's like a marketing slogan like Porsche, there is no substitute. I think he said it in Tom Cruise actually said it in Risky Business. You remember that movie? He said that. He actually said the Porsche like line.
Oh, I think you might be right. Yeah, I don't remember any.
Yeah, how funny would that have been if he said the Porsche, there is no substitute? That'd be like a funny parody commercial, bringing it back full circle, like Tom Cruise saying it again. It looks like a Porsche commercial,
Yeah, I think I think you're right.
Yeah, it's just man. They have an '80s Porsche. They're both old. The Porsche is really old. It's just like, oh man. I mean, it's a nice old Porsche. Any Porsche is a nice car, all of them. But it's just like, come on. Would have been better if they were like 20-something-year-olds with a new Porsche. I don't know. Would have had. I don't know. It's just a bunch of old. I mean, I get it, Tom Cruise, but I just who wants to see old people like doing romantic stuff? I don't know. I guess a bunch of old people probably. I guess it's funny. I'm laughing now because all the people in the theater were old people. Because I went during the week like on at 12 o'clock. So it's like all retiree people in the theater.
Oh no!
So they were all probably loving that. You know, they're probably like older than Tom Cruise, half of them in the theater. They're probably like, "Oh, this is great. Yeah, they really got it still." You know, yeah, Tom Cruise has got it still. Yeah, look at that. You know.
Yeah, I wonder how. It does make you wonder though how long he's going to be the romantic leading man.
I think he's just. He's just too old to be doing it now. I don't get why they did that. Like, I get it, Top Gun, but it's like, just accept that he's an older guy now and don't, again, do the romantic shit, but do it with the younger people. It would have made a lot more sense. It would have made everything else in the script a lot more impactful, especially Tom saving his life. And, yeah, it's just, I don't know. But, you know, like I said, they got to keep, I guess, I don't know, trying to milk Tom Cruise still.
It looks like he's 59 right now.
Yeah, to be fair, they shot that movie. He was probably like
50.
Oh, did you notice?
57 maybe.
Yeah, they shot that movie like when did they shoot that movie? Because they delayed it so many times.
Probably 2019, 2018. I'm having
2018, I would say.
I'm having fucking deja vu right now.
It's so long. That movie was supposed to come out, I think, in 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maverick shooting dates. I'm gonna look it up now.
Okay.
Oh, of course, shooting. It gives me.
Oh my God, Jennifer Connelly's 51, so she was probably 49 when they shot that, or 48.
Why can't I tap? Why is it? Okay, I have to look up the Wikipedia because for some reason Google just doesn't tell me when it was made, when it was shot. Okay, development of the film began in 2010. Okay, on June 2019. Oh, and actually, in June 2019, they already had like early footage. So, why don't you tell me when it was?
It's top secret.
Yeah. All right. In July 2018, we're cast in the role. August. Yeah, so it's probably. It sounds like 2018. Early, yeah, they were filming it.
Okay, so
production of the film was started May 30th, 2018 in California.
So then he would have been like 50, 56 or 57.
Yeah, that's... So I noticed, it was crazy because did you notice when the opening... I'm sure it was the same with your theater. Remember the opening scene with Tom Cruise thanking everyone for coming?
Oh, yeah, they did that.
Yeah, but I noticed, I was like, he looks a lot older than he does in the movie.
I know.
And it's like, yeah, because they probably shot that like a month before it came out. Like, they definitely shot it because it was like, oh, thank you. Because it wasn't a message of like, oh, yeah, coming back to the movies. It was definitely, like, wasn't it shot probably a week or two or who knows, like probably right before they brought the movie out to theaters. And it was pretty obvious. It was like, wow, he looks older, like 4 years later, shit.
Yeah, after that little bit came and went, I turned to Beth and I said, who was that?
Yeah, oh, you actually said that? Yeah, because you look so much older. You don't think 4 years is a lot, but like, when you age, it's like, especially at that age, it could be, those 4 years could be the meaning of like, well, you're still a Hollywood star, doing love scenes, and then now it's like, oh, it's grandpa, It was sad though because it was like it reminded you how long it took the movie to come out, and it was just kind of sad because it was just like, oh, thanks for showing up to the movies, like because we're not trying to put this on streaming, like thanks for actually coming, like that was kind of sad, like sad in the sense of like where this is all headed, movie theaters, and he just felt it to me it felt very sincere when he was saying it, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't getting a vibe that it was like he was forced to really do it, or if anything, I imagine maybe I wonder if that was actually his decision to say, hey, can I put this opening message, film this opening, you know what I mean? I wonder if that was actually his decision to put that in the what do you think?
Well, I would imagine Mr. Top Cruise, whatever he says goes. I'd say it's very possible that it was his choice to do that. Yeah,
because it was like I'm sure that wasn't originally planned to be the opening message before the movie, But either way, if it wasn't his decision or not, it seemed like he was very sincere it felt very sincere, like he was actually thanking you and like felt grateful that you still showed up to the movies, to see the movie because, I don't know. Trying to keep it alive, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that's one thing I've been meaning to say that I don't want to forget to mention is a little bit. It's kind of scary how they start the movie. It kind of comes and goes really quick. Where they
you talking about the pilot where they're replacing them with drones?
There you go.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Yeah, I totally forgot about that. What do you think about that?
I was like, okay, this is kind of telling the audience maybe there's only going to be 2 Top Gun movies, or at least with Tom Cruise. The third one can be Top Gun Droid.
Top Gun versus the drones. The drones.
Top Gun AI.
Or like they got to. That might not be a bad movie. Like they for some reason they need like they could build a plot around like needing a human pilot. Like we can't do this with an AI program. We have to have a human pilot. And it's like, what? Are you crazy? They can't even sustain 9 Gs without passing out. Like, what do you mean? You want to do this mission with a human pilot? They can't even like. Yeah, and it's like, well, we got to do it. We can't do it because blah 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 blah. Right.
Well, you must have seen the movie Stealth from like I don't know when the movie Stealth came out. Remember? Did you see Stealth?
No, I don't think so.
Oh wow, that's a movie from God. I don't remember if it was '07 or something like that. It was like something like that, '05, '06, '07. But it was about basically an AI fighter jet. So it was talking about the same stuff. Like human pilots are going to be replaced. This is the future. So it was a movie about an actual AI fighter jet. So it was kind of before its time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, it makes so much more sense in a situation like that to not have a human because you're just for the fact that the G-forces limit those a human so much more. Even if they can sustain them, like they get tunnel vision, they start graying out. It's like even if they can do it, like if they're not as precise, it's it's not going to affect the. So I mean, stuff like that. It just and it's it's always going to be perfect in what it's doing that it's programmed to do. It's never gonna mess up or like you said, nothing's gonna. So yeah, and it'll never. Hey, the biggest thing. I think didn't they kind of make that point too? It will never disobey orders. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole point of Maverick, he disobeys orders. He does what he wants.
Oh yeah, that's right. They got to cut out the human element that disobeys orders and does something better than they thought it could be done. Yeah.
Well, it's just the biggest thing. Like, it's going to do what it was programmed and we told it to do. It's never going to just think on its own and go. This is there's no morality involved. But then you look at it, it's like, well, is there any morality involved? And I know this is on the side tangent. Do these people how often are they disobeying orders anyway? I don't. Probably doesn't really happen.
Well, it's funny. I don't really want to go too deeply into it, but the word morality. I mean, you can't really say that with a straight face with the words like Navy, Army,
yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Anyway, well, that's kind of funny. What the hell was I gonna say? Shit, I forgot. That's okay.
Was it something to do with the AI stuff or?
Oh yeah. It was a funny plot point. Not that I want to start talking about Stealth, but there was this funny scene in Stealth where this, they showed the like hard drive of the AI robot comes down out of the thing, and it's like this big ball, and it's playing some song or something like that, and he's like, "Wow, how many songs does this thing have on it?" And he's like, "All of them." That was a funny line. That's probably the best part of Stealth. But Stealth, if you can see Stealth for free, I'd probably recommend it. It's got what's her name? Back in her prime.
When did this movie come out?
2005. Yeah, back in her prime. It's got I just had it searched and then now it's gone.
Jessica Biel.
Yeah, Jessica Biel in her when she was still younger. Yeah, so.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
if you can see it for free, I'd recommend it. That it's a movie about basically what they very briefly alluded to in the beginning of Top Gun Maverick. The era of human pilots. Being the end of that era being very close.
Yeah. It was almost back in 2005. Yeah, that era was coming very it was almost right around the horizon, because even back then, 2005, I mean, they had the programming capabilities to do a lot of stuff, to be automated, and the tech was pretty much all there for the most part. So it's probably just like you said, just work. Well, not like you said, but like I'm saying now, probably just them working out the kinks, just working the bugs out of it.
You got that right. Anything else you can think of with about Top Gun Maverick?
Um, uh, I mean, besides I was blown away by the fight scenes and the actual flying and I mean, in the mission, the final act was really edge of your seat. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can't really ask for more, and I'm kind of nitpicking with the other stuff, but overall, I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. It was a really good summer blockbuster movie. You don't get to see it too often. So what are your final thoughts on the movie overall?
Yeah, it was probably, better than I thought it'd be, and definitely, as I
Yeah,
already said, definitely for me an improvement over the first film. Everything the first film should have been, honestly.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a shame the first film wasn't more like this one. Yeah, it was such a you're right. Now I'm thinking about it, was such a disappointment. There was like really just then training, and then it was like what randomly. It just felt so like there was no stakes at all. It was just like, oh look, these guys showed up and got into a dogfight, or something. It was like whatever.
Yeah, because the first film I hadn't seen in a long time, and it was quite a while ago. I came across the DVD for like $3, several. I mean, we're talking maybe a decade or more ago, and I've watched it for the first time in a super long time, and I'm like, holy shit! I didn't remember that this movie's all about just frickin', training and dogfight war games. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right. Because it was like dogfight war games. Yeah, that was their training. Yeah, which makes sense. But and then one last funny nitpick I had. I mean, it was a cool scene to see, but it was also just like, really? Remember one of the I think it was one of the beginning training scenes where Tom Cruise, like, he's trying to chase Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise like flies into the sun. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Like flies up into where the sun is, and then he gets blinded by the sun. I was just like, really? Really? Like, you don't have auto-dimming sunglasses? You don't just have sunglasses on your visor? Like, you're flying high up in the sky on a bright sunny day, and you have again, you don't, like I had a car with it. Like, it's not. I was just like, I get it. It's a gotta suspend your disbelief. It's like, I don't know. I just kind of, I was just like, really? Like, he's getting blinded by this because they didn't think about this. Like they didn't, because you notice, remember the enemy pilots all had tint over their, they had tint over their
Eyes.
their visor. Yeah, it's like, that makes sense, But it was like, I get it. You want to be maybe clear, but it's like, you don't, like, you stare at the sun. You don't have auto dimming visors. Like, how could that ever happen? I was just like, whatever. It was just kind of one of those things. Like, it was cool, but I don't know. It was just like, come on. Like, in real life, I don't know. Whatever. Maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like, oh, we can't have auto tinting because it does this. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe they don't actually in real life, but I would imagine they do. But what did you think about that? Did you notice that?
Yeah, well, I don't think I thought about it then, as deeply as you did. But now to come to think of it, you're right. That was that one of the during the dogfight war games with his own people, right?
Yeah. Where Tom faked him out, like purposely flew into the sun because Tom was like, "I'm bringing sunglasses today, I guess." And then this guy's just flying into the sun, like, I can't see. It's like, you fucking people. Again, you don't have auto dimming glasses. You don't just have some basic tint on your. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It was just one of those like moments. Like, okay,
Well, come to think of it, I mean, I don't remember everyone who was at the Top Gun flying school when they were flying and stuff. Did they even have like the aviator glasses, or did they have anything?
No, I don't think they wear glasses when they're flying in the scene. I think they had the visor over, but the visor was completely clear and apparently had no ability to tint. Like the auto dimming, like mirrors and auto dimming technology that's existed for a long time that'll just dim stuff when light hits it.
Yeah.
Like I would imagine that they'd put that on, for flying. I would imagine that's something they would put on their visors, but I guess not. I don't know.
Well, golly gosh.
I guess just if you get blinded by the sun, I guess just squint your eyes and deal with it as you're flying an $80 million jet at like Mach 3, I guess. I don't know. You would think so. Or Mach 2, I don't know. You would think something is like something like, I mean, Jesus, like cars come with a visor to try to block out the sun. You know what I mean? I just thought it was ridiculous. I was like, this fucking jet, like your car has a block down visor to try to block the sun out of your eyes when you're driving at like 50 miles an hour down the road. I don't know. Or you got sunglasses you could put on so you're not blinded by the sun as you're driving down the highway. It's just, but yeah, the fighter pilot jet, just I don't know. It was just like, I don't know. Like I get what they were going for because it was like, oh, he faked them out by flying into the sun because he was gonna get blinded, but it was just. I don't know. It just took me out of it because of how stupid it was that he didn't have some type of tint. I know I'm nitpicking, but it was just I was just like, really,
Yeah, well, we spent so much on the planes. We don't have any money left for the visor
yeah, you can't even get tint on your visor. The enemies are smart enough to tint their visors because they're. But you guys, can't do that. I get it. I mean, for the movie, it makes sense. It's like. They got to have the clear visors because the enemy's got to have the dark visors, because they're the bad guys. So, but it leads to this weird plot, like this weird, I guess, plot hole you want to call it. That like, yeah, you're just gonna get blinded by the sun every time you're flying into it or looking at it. But okay, I just thought that was funny. I mean, out of all the things they could have done to fake him out, like, I don't know.
No, I hear you.
Like. Couldn't he have I thought it would be cool. Like I thought, well, couldn't he have done something even if it was unrealistic, even if they didn't have this ability to really do this kind of stuff on jets, at least it could have been believable. Like, oh, you could do it if you added to the jet. Like it would have been cool if they made the jet smoke up more because he has that. They were always talking about, oh yeah, hit the afterburners so you get more. I guess you just get more speed, just boost it. Like it would have been cool if it was there was a way to configure it so diesel trucks still just blow out a bunch of black smoke when they reprogram it.
Oh,
yeah, and it'd be cool if Tom Cruise faked them out by blowing more smoke in his face. That would have been at least oh, okay, that could happen. Probably not, but then flying into the sun. Just I'm nitpicking. I just was dude, come on. Again, we're talking about the U.S. Navy and he's getting blinded by I just was you know what? If they did something like that, I would have been cool with it if they made a joke about it afterwards. You know what? We should probably get sunglasses when we fly up there, right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Something stupid we should probably keep these glasses on when we're up there.
Yeah, if they would have made a joke about it, it would have been okay.
It's diffused to how, I don't know. But whatever. I guess most audience now, man, like I said, they probably... I don't know if they have much of a brain to turn off anymore. I was going to say they probably turn their brain. And you're supposed to turn your brains off for stuff like this, but whatever. Any other closing thoughts? I know I keep rambling.
I guess none that I can really think of. Any thoughts on the nearly 50-year-old female love interest's bar that she owns and her little rule with the cell phone on the bar?
I remember that part of the movie, but I zoned out. What was the rule?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can have if your cell phone is caught on the bar, on top where the drinks sit and stuff. She rings the bell, and the offender's got to pay for everyone's drinks.
Well, that's a little harsh. And what was the big deal about having your phone on the bar?
Well, I kind of agree with this. I mean, it's kind of like it's an aging woman's establishment, so she's not too keen on having the cell phones on the bar. I mean, I kind of agree with it. It's keep them, put them on airplane when you're in here. Just enjoy being in here and get that tech the fuck out of the way.
Okay. Well, I mean, they could easily just hold it in their hand instead of putting it on the bar. Or just what if they just hold it in their hand? Because he was holding it in his hand texting. It's not
have it on the like everyone does in and their back pocket bullshit.
Yeah. I just. Yeah,
oh, so you zoned during the love scene.
Yeah, because I knew where it was going as soon as he was like, "Hey," and he started flirting. I was like, "Oh God, here we go."
Oh.
And then they were like, "You gotta buy everyone." Did he buy everyone beers?
He came back the next day to pay, and I don't think she let him. So he's off the hook.
Did she buy everyone beers then?
No, he didn't have enough money that night. He came back the next day to pay her with cash, and
that's right. His card got. Yeah, I remember his card getting canceled. Why? Like, what was that supposed to symbolize? He's just a broke ass pilot. I don't know what the.
Yeah, I don't even know what that meant. Yeah.
Then it was like I was like, oh, his car got canceled and it didn't go anywhere. It was like,
well, that was
like okay,
a reason for him to come back the next day with cash.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah, that's all it was. Again, I zoned out completely. My brain was zoned. I didn't care. Wasn't even. But here I am, like, I can't believe he's flying into the sun without any type of protection for his eyes. I'm nitpicking, and it's just, yeah. Oh, it's just a reason to go back and talk to the old, his old girlfriend or whatever, and don't care. And then the little girl. Did you laugh when he fell out the window?
Oh yeah,
sleeping over. It was like when we watched like a teenage rom-com. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I figured that was gonna happen. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a scene where he's jumping out. I figured he'd stand up and she'd be standing right there watching him.
If they had any balls, they would have just had it. So this would have been funny. Have him plowing the mom, and then her accidentally walk in. I don't know how if that would have not show anything, but. Like, you know what I mean? That would have been funnier.
Yeah, and the little girl could have said, "Oh, they do it a lot better than that on the internet."
Oh yeah, that would be good. Yeah. Or at the very least, she hears them. Like she's like, "I can hear you." Like she didn't know she was home. Like being loud. Like I can hear you. Like that would have been funny. Like. That's what I would have done. Like, I would have genuinely laughed my ass off at something like that. But they just made it into, like, this team of, you gotta jump out the window. And I guess it's supposed to be funny because they're so old, but I don't know. I just was like, whatever, dude. Like, just get back to flying these jets and killing the bad guys, right? The so-called bad guys. That was another thing about this movie. I guess...
The faceless...
You gotta have...
Faceless bad
guys, and there's like no reason. Oh, they have this thing, and we don't want them to have it. And there's no other. Like, I guess that kind of ticked me off. I was like, you spent all this time with this stupid romantic stuff. Like, at least like give a reason for this mission besides like we don't want them having these, weapons. So we're gonna go in and take them out. Like we're the good guys. That's what good guys do. We don't want them protecting themselves, I guess.
Yeah, the world
from us that are coming in and blowing this stuff up and flying in. Like, oh, no shit, they had all that stuff. Like, why? Oh, this is what you're doing. Doing like kamikaze suicide missions to get rid of it. I mean, Jesus, Yeah, that kind of ticked me off. I mean, it is what it is. Like you said, military good. I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, you can't. I just wish they could, they could just make a movie and just take countries' name out of it. Just make fictional names of countries and just make fictional problems that don't even exist in the real world.
Fictional flags.
Yeah, I would be totally cool with that, but they don't do that, and it makes you wonder why they don't do that. Because they want you to think, through the movie. We told you. That kind of stuff. That's why it's hard for me to watch these war movies. Unless, like I said, they're completely fictional, Like, I really don't like when they actually even name, oh, this is America, this is that.
Well, yeah, in the 80s in the movies, I mean, the bad guy was Russia.
Yeah, now it's, we're probably going back to that, so the next one. Don't worry, the next Top Gun will be bad guy Russia again, Was it Iran this time, I think?
I couldn't even tell.
I think someone said online it was Iran, but I was like, I don't remember them even saying it. But
yeah, I don't remember nothing, but
it was just, these are the bad guys. okay. Like, why not at least, even if it's fake, fictional country, why not have them at least attack you? So the state, oh my God, they got attacked. Just something that, like, there's a real reason for this mission, you know? But it just, it was very generic. I mean, it's better than the first one, but yeah, it was just the generic reason. The mission itself was really cool. Like, I really liked how high stakes it was and what they had to do, but just give me a reason that, like, you know, to, like, feel some type of, like, you know, make me feel like you're actually the heroes. You know what I mean? That's what this movie was missing. Like, you're not even, what are you guys doing? You know what I mean? Are you really doing this because you're the hero? Like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, they're kind of doing in this movie what, you know, they condemn other countries for doing to, you know, other countries or us, you know, kind of the strike first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we have to strike first, you know, so they don't hypothetically do it, you know? But we strike first like 100 times, though, and then they build weapons, and then we got to stop them from doing that, you know? Strike 110 times more. So it's just like, okay, what?
Oh, well.
Oh, well. I mean, it was to be expected, you know, it's a military movie at the end of the day that has to show. I would have thought they would at least went the route, like, more like progressive, where they would be like, I would have been laughed if they, like, made it like U.S. military bad, because that was kind of like, you know, the state of things going now in the world. I would have thought they would have actually, maybe potentially this time, been like, yeah, we're not the good guys, but nah, that's not gonna happen.
Nah, I doubt it.
Or at least, you know, just so, you know, it's like, what are we, fucking children? These are the bad guys because we say they are. I guess most people are, like, no reason, just, I don't know. Again, it's more important that Tom Cruise makes out with an old lady. And then, you know, whatever. It's a Top Gun movie. But I guess if you're a huge fan of that cheesy Top Gun stuff. And I said it earlier, it was cool for its time. I guess that's my point, bring it full circle. I did like the cheesy parts of the original, but I wasn't really a fan of the cheesy stuff in this one.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Like, it made sense in the original 80s cheesy movie, charming, they're all young. In this one, it's just like, I get it, it's a Top Gun movie, I get what you're going for, but it's like, I could do without this cheesy shit in this movie. But.
So the cheesy stuff in this one is just the middle-aged love?
Yeah, you know, and I guess there's a little bit of cheese between, like, the egos of the pilots. I mean,
oh God,
that wasn't too bad, but it was still, come on, a little cheesy. And then I don't know, it was just like, all right, but and then, like, the football scene, that wasn't too bad, because the football scene, I at least liked how. At least remember the football scene, they were all just like they were having problems, and that was actually better than the original, because it actually made sense. It was like, well, they're all, like, fighting each other and arguing, and they're not working as a team. So let's just have them play football and have fun and, you know, team bonding. Like, that was good. Like, you know, that I'll give it that. Like, that was good. When he was like, you guys don't have any time to be, like, what are you doing? You're not training? You know, he's like, you told me to make a team. I'm making a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, that was, yeah, I agree. Unlike, I think I want to say it was volleyball in the first film. They were just...
Yeah, it was football here.
Yeah, right. They were just doing volleyball for no reason in the first one. And in this one, there was a point...
Real reason.
Yeah, kind of...
like that.
Yeah, I agree. That worked.
That did work, yeah. The first one, it was just a totally cheesy reason for guys to take their shirt off and play volleyball. And it was kind of laughable. But this one, it was like, okay, yeah. At first, it feels like it's going to be a cheesy thing, and then the commander, you know, is like bitching at Tom Cruise. Why are you letting them do this? They got to be. What the hell's the point of this? And he's like, because you told me to make a team. You know, I thought that was good. Which is what you would probably do in a real situation like that. You'd be like, all right, let's get him out of the classroom. Let's take a break and just focus on working together, having fun, you know, building some bonds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'd actually care and want to work together, and your guy flying next to you, or just girl too, because they had to throw in a couple of those girl things. Remember?
Did you say girl things?
Girl, like, because there was the woman pilot, and they had to throw in a couple. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, remember that? Like, they were making stabs at, oh, she's a female pilot, she's with us or whatever.
Yeah.
It could have done without this shit, but
I hear you.
If you're gonna put the female pilot, just whatever. I don't know. It's just again, gotta have diversity. It is what it is, but
War of the sexes.
Yeah, just gotta pit men and women together again and pit them against each other, and it's part of, how it goes. But whatever. But I'll at least say, like, beyond that, there wasn't a lot of. I was happy to see that it was pretty much just a straightforward movie without, besides, like, without any, like, message to really push.
Yeah, that was surprising, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that. Like, yeah, okay, it was a little bit of like, yeah, but yeah, I was like, it could have been way worse. Like, it could have been way worse for this shit. So I was happy about that.
Absolutely.
Any other thoughts? I mean, we probably said final thoughts like 10 times now, but I feel like I'm running out. I keep thinking of more stuff about the movie as I say that.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you got to say final thoughts again then, so you can think of something else. I think my well is dry for Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll think of something else. I'll probably say it some other time, but yeah. I guess overall, I mean, would you agree it's a good popcorn movie, like just a good fun popcorn movie, kind of mindless, just turn your brain off, have fun.
Yeah, good. Turn your brain off, have fun, and as I've already said, yeah, kind of what I would have understood. If this had been the first film, I would have understood more about why it was so successful. So, it was definitely cool to see a film that I thought was, or a sequel that I thought was better than the original. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you going to get this movie on DVD when it comes out? I guess that's another good question. Like, is this worth Blu-ray or DVD?
I'll probably end up with Blu-ray at some point. I mean, it may be used for $10 or less. I'm not going to have any, like, I don't have to buy it on release day or anything.
Mm-hmm. Are you gonna watch this movie on your projector?
If I ever end up with the DVD or Blu-ray, I'd probably watch it on the projector. I imagine it would be a
cool experience.
Cool experience, and that was one thing that I don't know if I don't know if this is. I don't imagine this is released theatrically in 3D, but
oh yeah, good point. Maybe they'll put it in 3D. Yeah.
I don't know because I'm not interested in paying extra money to see 3D in the theater anymore. But I just wanted to mention that, I mean, it doesn't, the way it was done with kind of them wide lenses in those cockpits on what supposedly is real flying. Like, you don't even need 3D. Just the tilting back and forth on the big screen was really a pretty cool effect.
Yeah, it was very immersive in the movie theater seeing this movie. Like, it's definitely a movie that, like, you have to see in the theaters. Don't you agree with, like, or at least on a huge projection screen? It's a go big or go home type movie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd agree with that as well. See it in the theater if you can, or if you've got a home.
IMAX. I think I didn't see it in IMAX, but I kind of wish I did. I just didn't feel like spending the money, to be honest. But definitely would be great on IMAX. Something like this.
I forgot to ask, did you use your free ticket on this?
Yes, I did. I did use my free ticket. And, if I could have used my free ticket and then just paid the extra for the, like, whatever the surcharge, the extra for what the IMAX would have, the difference. But it still would have been like $10 extra for the IMAX. Like, I still would have been paying like $10. So I just said, you know what, whatever. And I would have had to have driven like 20 minutes to a theater for IMAX, and I just was like, I just wanted to get it over with and see it. So, but I kind of regret it. It's anyone listening, definitely an IMAX worthy, or at the very least, it's just go to the theater movie because it definitely needs a big screen, and just the sound too. Like, the sound was amazing, and if your theater has a decent sound system, which most do, like, I mean, that was another. We talked about that earlier. Like, you thought the sound was really good.
Oh yeah, no complaints on the sound.
Yeah, because like when they would start up, like, remember, like, they'd start up like the left engine and like the left side of the theater was like rumbling, and then like the right engine started up. It's like then the right side was starting to rumble. I was like, damn.
Oh my god.
I was like, wow. Oh man, this movie really, I said it, but I'll say it again. This movie made me just, oh god, it was so immersive. Like, it made me hate how much fucking green screen and CGI they use for action movies now. You know?
That's a good point.
Like, I get it, the budget was really high for this, but it's like, they don't even try anymore. Like, they don't even, like, everything's green screen, everything's gonna be shot. I mean, they don't even make sets. They don't even go to different locations. It's just green screen Paris, bro. It's just like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, just that alone, I'm like, wow, they're actually not behind like a green. Like, it's like they're so bad now with these movies that like, they green screen in just like because they don't want to fly to a new location. Like, oh, just save us money, green screen the background. Like, of like something that like it's just because they don't want to go there. And it's just like, oh man, it was so nice. It was such a nice change of pace to see real stuff. It's like you'll never be able, like, this movie will look good forever. Like it's just, oh man, you know what I mean? Like it'll look good forever because it was real. Unless they can get CGI to the point that you can't even distinguish it from real, you know?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know.
Which I don't know. Maybe one day it might happen, but I don't see it happening soon. Then yeah, this is the best you're gonna get.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, what?
In closing, that reminded me another scene that I thought was cool, and it could have been longer for my money because I'm a fan of the water. But that little sailing scene, remember the sailing scene with the
oh yeah, that wasn't too. Yeah, okay, that was an extra scene that I thought was pretty cool because I do like sailing too, and yeah, that was a cool little scene. I agree with you there. If there's one, yeah, but he could have been just sailing by himself. That would have been fine too.
Well, no, I thought it was. I thought it was good because she was teaching him, so it was kind of an excuse for them both to be on there. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was also like it was kind of funny how he was like, I don't know how to sail. Well, she's like, you're in the Navy. He's like, yeah, I don't. But he's like, I fly jets. Remember, he was like, I don't even know how to sail.
Yeah,
did she say like a comment like, you're in the Navy? What do you mean you don't know how to sail?
Exactly, and another thing that if Freud were to have seen this movie, it was kind of interesting how the boat was like, the beginning of the scene, it was all kind of going all fast, and I think the wind kind of had it tilted, and with her help and guidance, she was able to erect that tilted boat into more of a sticking up kind of a stance. Yeah,
that's true too. Yeah, they definitely had some good wind power going there. Tilt that boat. But again, I don't know all the ins and outs of Stanley. Like I said, maybe it was tilted a little too much.
Yeah, I think
she was trying to offset that, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, imagine if the wind is really, really strong. I imagine that you can't really help it to an extent because when you see every time you see those fast sailboats, they're always tilted like that, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can't remember. It seems like they opened up another sail, or maybe they turned into the wind or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they could turn the sail a little bit so it's not getting the angle so they're not going as fast. So it's not going to be as powerful pushing it. Yeah, it's like, if you're not racing, why do you need to have, to be going, as fast as possible to tilt your boat like that? But it's cool. It's cool, That was a cool scene. Did he drive her? He did. I wish they had a scene where he was like ripping on his motorcycle. That would have been cool. Like with her on the back. Like I think she rode on the back with him, but he wasn't doing anything crazy. Right?
Right. He wasn't doing anything crazy on the motorcycle. I mean,
it would have been cool if like, you know what, we're going to go down. We're going to be going like 180 down this straightaway right now. Like that would have been cool. And then they just crash and fall and die in the end of the movie.
Well, they could have arrived at her house and, peeled the bugs off their faces.
Yeah. Oh, man. Did you see the movie Ford versus Ferrari?
Myself, I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. I guess I won't spoil it because the ending is kind of, it's not funny, but it's, yeah. But yeah, I was just made me think if they would have just had Tom Cruise die at the end, or what he's just driving his motorcycle with her on the back and they crash. End the movie, you know. He was flying that plane though. Oh, did you know that was actually his plane? He was flying, like he actually owned that plane.
Are you talking about the propeller one?
Yeah, that's actually Tom Cruise's plane.
Oh yeah, I wasn't aware of it.
Because he flies planes. Like, I mean, obviously he has a plane. The guy does everything. He rock climbs, flies planes, does all those. I mean, he flies helicopters now too. Apparently, in the last Mission Impossible. I'm surprised they didn't. I mean, I wonder if they let him fly this jet at all. Like, I don't think he did, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like, yeah, just fly the jet. I'm sure he could, but at that point, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, whatever. You got two people in the jet. Let the one guy fly it. You just do all the work while you act.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, what do you think? Do you think we said our piece on Maverick?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it said most of what I'm going to say. Yep.
Well, that's great. Well, why don't we say goodbye on the recording and we can have a few more words afterwards, okay?
All right. Well, yep. So Top Gun, I would definitely suggest seeing it in the theater, just because it's no bullshit. It is a movie that you got to see in the theater because of all, the sound, like you said, the wide angle. It's just very immersive. Just gotta check it out in theaters. It's definitely worth it. So yeah, it's my closing thoughts. I enjoyed it.
So briefly, how was it compared to how you thought? Better or just the same?
Yeah. I was expecting it to be pretty good.
Oh, okay.
It exceeded my expectations, maybe by a little bit. Like, I wasn't expecting the dogfighting in the end mission to be so. Like, I really wasn't expecting to be that on my edge of the seat. So I guess in that aspect, it definitely did exceed my expectations. I really was on the edge of my seat, like when they were doing that mission. Like, holy shit, because it just felt so goddamn real, like, because it was. And yeah, just I don't know, just the fact that they were flying the planes, just all the things added up, and how hard the mission was, and you're seeing them actually feel the G's and take the turns, and it's just like, and they really did a good job of making the mission seem like impossible to do. It just really had me on the edge of my seat, like, holy shit, this is intense. So yeah, definitely, yeah. So yeah, now that I'm saying that, it exceeded my expectations. Yeah.
Well, very cool. Yeah, I'd have to mirror that sentiment and say it definitely exceeded what I thought it'd be. I figured it'd be cool, maybe somewhere along. I figured it'd be hopefully better than the first film, but I'd say it exceeded my expectations as well. So, yay, Top Gun Maverick, and yay, yay.
Thumbs up. Yep.
All right, very cool. Well, I guess that does it for this film discussion with Nate and Matt, and thank you very much for joining, and feel free to
no problem.
Leave some I'm talking to the listeners, but I guess I could extend that thank you to you as well. Thank you, Matt, for stopping on by to share your thoughts on Top Gun Maverick. Feel free to leave comments in the comment section.
And I'll probably leave something. I'll probably remember something I wanted to say.
Yeah, Matt will probably remember an hour's worth of extra stuff, and he'll update the comments as he remembers. But
there's a lot more technical stuff about the planes and how they filmed it that would take another 2 hours or an hour to talk about. But I didn't want to really dive into it.
Well, that's appreciated. Be sure to check out the comments for Matt's possible further technical notes on the making of the film. May be there, may not. It's his choice. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you.